My long-awaited book, Astrology Realized, is finally available and waiting for you at Amazon and other online retailers. Get one for you, your loved one, or as a gift. All part of your fabulous journey to understanding astrology. Enjoy. Hello, fabulous friends and fans. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of September 29, 2013. I am your astrologer, Nadia Shah. Thank you for being here. So I'm back here on the rooftop of Icaro Hotel and Suites in Cancun, Mexico. For those of you who've been watching my monthly horoscopes for a while, might remember that I did a series of monthly horoscopes in the spring from this very spot. So it's really good to be back, and a big thank you to Icaro for hosting me once again and allowing me to record on their rooftop. And I am back in Cancun again, obviously, being at Icaro. And what I really love about Cancun is the energy here, the energy of restarting your life. The city's very new. It's only about 43 years old. And everyone who's here is here from somewhere else. Of course, there are the people vacationing here. It was set up as a vacation spot. But then there are people who live here, who work within the tourism industry. But they came here to start their life again. They came here for a better life. So there's this energy of restarting. There's this energy of ambition. There's this energy of wanting more and also being willing to work on your own behalf to create better circumstances for yourself, which, in my opinion, is part of the best of the human spirit, when we know that we can do that and we actually take action in support of our belief that we deserve better. And we hit magic when we also accept this moment as perfect at the same time. Now, I think all these issues are especially pronounced right now, given that this week brings a new moon in the sign of Libra. But this is a very powerful new moon that we will be welcoming. This particular new moon is going to be speaking with, in quite exact precision, to Uranus and Pluto. And shortly after the new moon, within hours after the new moon, with Jupiter as well. And so I do think that for all of us in some way, we are going to be asked to begin again. Now, for some of us, if you choose to approach this consciously, right? If you're one of those people who chooses to rule your stars, to work with your stars, then I think that you are going to have tremendous power at your disposal. You're going to be able to take the energy that is there and channel it into greater understanding of what needs to be done and the motivation to do it. But being able to do it from a place of calm and a place of acceptance of where you are now, and that's where you hit the sweet spot. But there are going to be those people who will resist change in any form, who resist change. And that is where I would just advise you to be a little bit cautious, okay, if you're one of those people. Maybe strive to do a meditation where you open on a heart level to see what could be available to you, what could change for the better for you, regardless of what maybe doesn't look so good immediately. And I'm not saying that things have to work out that way. Absolutely not. But what I am saying is that the universe is intent on getting all of us to start again, to reboot at least one area of our lives again. And if you don't welcome that opportunity, then you're going to just create strife for yourself where there doesn't need to be. But if you welcome that opportunity, then you are going to walk a path towards greater peace and greater happiness and greater empowerment. And when I consider those two options, working with the stars or choosing not to work with the stars, I can't help but think that working with the stars will actually benefit you and all of us so much more. How this speaks to you in your sign is coming up right now. For Aries, this is a new moon in your opposite sign. So this suggests other people. This is about love and relationships and partnerships. And you're about to get some very powerful insights into why you've made the choices that you have. And what I am seeing more than anything is that you are starting again with relationships. It's almost as if you're closing one door in one moment, but more powerfully opening another. And this is a brand new door. And now, this is early October, just before Mercury retrograde season kicks in a little bit later this month. And so I do think, as I look at this, that you are going to need a fresh start where it comes to love. So for some of you, this fresh start is going to be with the person that you're with in a new understanding. But for others of you, this might be a new relationship as well. Regardless, the universe is set on getting you to understand love differently than you have before. For Taurians out there, you're gearing up for some changes in the workplace. You're gearing up for changes in terms of how you go about the business of living, the busyness of your life. But more than that, what I'm seeing here is you looking at How are you actually living? Does it honor you? Does it empower you? Does it not? For some of you, this is going to bring a change of habits, a brand new chapter and new habits, taking an real honesty moment and having an understanding of how you've been treating yourself, whether this is a mental habit, whether this is an actual crutch that you've been using. But for others of you, this is going to have to do with your workplace, because that tends to be the place where we develop little rituals because we spend so much time there. And I do think that you'll be quite busy when it comes to the work environment this week. For some of you, this is going to be very self-initiated as well. For others, not so much so. But regardless, you are going to see changes there to the way that you do your work and to the place and the space in which you do your work as well. For Geminis, this would ordinarily be a really fun week, but it does look like, while there is fun to be had, yes, it does look like a time when you are deeply contemplating what really matters to you. What is it that's really important to you? Now, I would invite you to consider a few things with this, okay? One is, for a lot of people, they talk about how becoming a parent changes everything for them. And I would invite you to consider that. If you currently have children, chances are they're going to be capturing some of your attention, needing some of your attention and your love, and you're going to be renegotiating, mostly with yourself, your relationship to them and what kind of parent you want to be, what kind of influence you want to be to them, and what kind of influence you want them to be on you. For those of you who don't have children but want children, it's very possible you get answers now, a way forward that leads you in the direction that you want so that you can have children. And for those of you who aren't thinking about children at all, then overall it does look like your own inner child is awakened at this time. But at the same time, there's an understanding that you have a responsibility to that part of you that needs fun, that needs fulfillment, that needs a sense of purpose. And so as you explore this week and as you deal with some issues that may come up rather suddenly, you're being asked to reconfigure your relationship to childhood in general, whether that's externalized through another child or whether that's within yourself. And all in all, that leads you in a direction towards a life that feels more fun, where your inner kid can come out and play. For Cancers out there, this week is very much about home, what's happening on the home front. So in some ways it should feel comfortable, certainly. But what's happening on the home front is going to get your attention, certainly. There are going to be changes. I am seeing new starts, so whether it's new roommates, redecorating, new spaces, selling, buying, whatever the case may be, it does look like where you live is an area of interest to you. For others, this is going to manifest in ways that are less literal, that have to do with how you feel within your own body, the home of your soul, if you will. And a lot of you are going to start to feel a lot more comfortable within your own selves and within your own skin. And that comfort is going to arise after what seems initially like a difficult moment. But that's going to lead you to contemplate who it is that you are, what it is that you want, and where it is that you're going. But also, what is it that gives you a sense of security within your own heart? That you find that space. It's really a sweet spot which is available to you, but you find that space and you will find so many more options open up to you because you have the confidence to see them through, and you have the confidence to see them because you have a stronger sense of self. For Leos out there, there's a lot of activity. There's a lot happening this week, and it all seems very spontaneous. If any of the signs are going to be surprised the most this week, it's got to be you. And it looks like news is coming, whether it's siblings, whether it's cousins. But basically, these are people who are your peers. These are people who would have been there with you through the early part of your life, maybe still there with you now. But these are the people who are bringing news to you. These are the people who are getting your attention at this time. So do be open to those conversations, really. And that's what it comes down to. Communications, conversations, yes, with these particular people that I mentioned, siblings and cousins, but also on a larger scale as well. It looks like the information that finds you comes through the internet, very likely, email, text messages, those types of things. And it comes very spontaneously. And it really can create a shift, a powerful shift where you look at yourself and the world very differently. This can be a time that empowers you tremendously, really empowers you to become more free and become more you and to let go of stuff that doesn't matter in an instant. So welcome whatever news finds you, because it really is meant to be for your best and it really is meant to empower you. For Virgos out there, there's a large financial focus this week. So the week has largely to do with you looking at the way that you're making money, if you like the way you're making money or not. I do think for a lot of Virgos, there are going to be changes For most Virgos, this is going to be a promotion. This is going to be a new opportunity, an advancement of some sort that brings in more money. For others, this is going to bring a change in the way that you go about making money. It may not always necessarily be a step up immediately, but you do see the potential for more and more. Regardless of how it manifests for you, this is progress. This is financial progress that's taking place for you now. This is new opportunities and new possibilities that are rushing to find you now, especially where it comes to your financial life. And this is the kind of thing that's going to be a part of your salary. This is the kind of thing, and the news that finds you, the opportunities that find you are the kind that can help your bottom line, that can help you make more money for a long time to come, well into the future. For Libras out there, this is a new moon in your sign. This is a reboot of your life. And this is a very powerful reboot. Remember at the very beginning of the video, I started talking about Cancun, the spirit of Cancun, part of why I love it so much here. This is especially true for you. And you don't have to be here, but that's the spirit with you now. Now, a new moon in your sign happens about once a year. And when that new moon happens, it does tend to denote a time that is sort of like your personal new year. Okay, it's a brand new start for you. It takes place usually in your birthday month as well. And so, well, always in your birthday month, actually. It takes place in your birthday month. And so it does sort of announce a new phase, a new period for you, a new year for you, but especially the next 6 months and the character that the next 6 months are going to take. You add to this the potency and the power of this particular new moon, and it does suggest some really powerful understandings and fresh starts and a shift in the way that you understand yourself, what's most important to you, and a shift in your identity. It truly is a powerful time, and I think a lot of Libras out there are going to be making some dramatic changes that are going to shock and surprise a lot of the people around you. But you'll know if they're right, and you'll understand your motivations if you're doing what you're doing because it's coming from a place of peace within you or not. And if it's coming from a place of peace, then all you need to do is trust it and follow the impotence. Now, I do think also, as I said earlier in one of the horoscopes just now, I talked about how we are just approaching Mercury retrograde season. And so this is a time to have those understandings, to have those beliefs, to let them come up. Big, powerful launches are going to happen a little bit further down the road, but the most important beginnings are going to happen now. The most important understandings of what needs to change happens for you right now, this week. It truly is a very powerful time for you. For Scorpios, there's a quietness to this week, but there's a lot going on under the surface. I remember once hearing sort of a metaphor of Scorpio being described as a still well, where you know that that well must go so deep and there could be so much underneath the surface. But on the surface, it can just look very calm and very small and very still. And when I think about this week, I think that these are the characteristics that are especially pronounced for you now. There's a lot going on underneath the surface. A lot is shifting. A lot of understandings are taking place for you. And you can sense that a big start, a new beginning is just around the corner. And it really is. But this is the time to let the shifts happen more on a cellular level, more on a personal level, more on a level of heart and a level of spirit, on a level of energy. Things are going to be coming up, especially in your dreamscape. And let those come forward for you, because I think that your psyche is going to be releasing a lot of stuff that you don't need anymore. But I also think that your dreams are going to reveal a lot of power to you as well. They're going to reveal what your next steps are going to be. But when those next steps finally do show up further down the road into the year, they are going to come by surprise and they are going to come by delight. This week is an important part of the preparation. Sagittarians out there. So for Sagittarians out there, I do think that this week is going to denote a change in friendships. What I'm seeing largely is reunions with friends, and all of a sudden you're seeing people very differently. And these could be people you haven't interacted with for a while, but regardless, it's like all of a sudden you see somebody very differently and you recognize who served their purpose and maybe who or where you can strengthen a bond more deeply. Ultimately, you're seeing yourself differently as a result of people who are coming and people who are going. So whether it's new people coming in, whether it's people who've been there for a while, regardless, it's other people who are showing you something about who you are today and what has changed for you. And I think, the Sagittarius out there have been going through some really powerful changes. I think that this week, a lot of those changes are going to start to hit home to your awareness, and it's going to be thanks to your friendships. But regardless, whoever is there now, whoever needs to leave, make sure you bless them with absolute love and light for having served their purpose, especially their karmic purpose, because you are in many ways preparing for and moving towards bigger and better things ahead, more and more increasingly as the days and the weeks go by, as you're starting to sense and as I think is going to become more and more clear to you. For Capricorns out there, for Capricorns, I do think this week has a very strong career focus, a strong career connotation, and you're thinking about what direction it is that you want to go, what is it that you're achieving. It does look like a week of not only an achievement, there is some achievement there, and there is likely to be some promotion there as well. But it looks like there's a newness to everything. So as on the one hand, yes, I am seeing some Capricorns feeling like, okay, it's done. The fruition of the moment has happened. But I think for a lot of Capricorns, it's like just barely when you feel like you can start to appreciate that something has been accomplished before the full appreciation can really hit home. Boom, you're being asked to do the next thing. You're being asked for the next promotion, the next advancement, the next growth. And it is very exciting, but you've got to be sure to find your balance because it looks like you could become a little bit of an adrenaline junkie in all this. And so if you can find your calm within, right? I think, I remember once somebody calling it the center point or the one point, right? That one thing within you that brings calm, that stills your energy. If you can find that space, you're going to find yourself becoming much more effective and accomplishing a lot more dreams, and in some cases, in an instant, and impressing the right people in the process as well. There are big dogs who are going to enter your life right about now, and so do embrace that, do welcome that. These are people who could figure prominently in your future for a long time to come. For Aquarians, this week does have a very strong connection to what it is that you believe. It has a strong connection to you looking at yourself in the context of the larger world, where you feel at home in the world. And I do think for a lot of you, there's going to be this element where all of a sudden the world becomes a lot smaller. What I'm also seeing, as I said, there's an element here of belief and a shift in beliefs, a shift in values, an understanding of how what you have believed maybe has served its purpose, and now you're ready to believe something else, and you're ready to live from that space. Now, for some Aquarians, I got to be honest, for some Aquarians, this is going to come as a big, dramatic conversions. For others, this is going to be a long time coming. For some, this is just going to be a deeper integration of ideas that you've been playing with for a while now. Regardless, it does look like this is the time for you to be open to information, be open to wisdom especially. And for those of you who aren't already open to ideas like law of attraction, law of love, things like that, I would really encourage you to look at that. But I do think ultimately it is about this idea of love and truth you're going for. And so it isn't entirely about manifestation, as it can be at times, at different phases for all of us. What I'm seeing more than anything is that this is about you aligning yourself and your energy with an energy that is more empowering and that is more loving, and especially more loving towards yourself, allowing you to be a more active agent in the world and a more profound presence in the world as well. And a lot of these ideas are going to be introduced through people who are different, and so do welcome those differences because they're meant to change you for the better. Finally, Pisces, I am sending you guys so much love and so much of my absolute best, because for you guys, this is a week of really, you know, I talked earlier about the pill of truth, right? The bitter pill of truth. How bitter it is really depends on your attitude. How bitter it is depends on how much you are willing to welcome it. But it does look like there are some hard truths that you need to face. And they are meant to empower you, enlighten you, and free you, and create greater wealth for you as well. But that, again, is going to depend on your attitude. If you are open to the changes, then you are going to find they flow very nicely, they flow with a sense of freedom and purpose and opportunity, and you're going to find yourself creating greater prosperity for yourself, creating greater wealth for yourself in the process. Because of the changes you go through, you recognize what isn't working and you change it, and as soon as you change it, and it's a slight change that I'm seeing, all this positive energy comes rushing in to fill the space. And this positive energy is that includes prosperity. It includes new understandings and new opportunities, including financial support for where it is that you desire to go. But if you resist this, then the energy could go the other way. And what I mean by that is you could find yourself clinging to a situation that has served its purpose. You could find yourself creating difficult financial circumstances for yourself when you really don't need to. If something seems challenging on the surface, the moment it looks challenging, surrender. Just put your arms up and saying, I'm going to trust what is happening. I'm going to trust the universe, and I'm going to go with the flow. You do that. You make that shift, and you are going to find, for some within days, for some within hours, all of a sudden you've opened up a window in your heart and in your energy for greater opportunity and greater prosperity to find you. Don't hold on to anyone or anything too tightly now, because the universe really wants you to create some space for some really wonderful things to come in. And the more that you can be open to that, the more you can trust that, the more you can find your life really be taken off one path and put on an entirely different path, a path of greater wealth and of greater self-knowledge as well. All right, I will stop there. I hope I got all the signs this week. I've been trying to work on that workflow a little bit, but if I didn't, I will backtrack. And I thank you guys, especially the first of you who tend to watch these, and let me know where maybe I have to pay more attention to the workflow. But as I said before, these weekly horoscopes, they're brand new, and I'm just so grateful that you guys are watching, that you guys care about keeping a connection with me and having these regular contacts with me. It truly is so meaningful to me and so humbling to me. And I thank you so much for your trust in my interpretation of the stars. It'll be a great week. Enjoy. Thank you for watching. It'll be a great month. Be fabulous and enjoy.